Hey guys, welcome back to Golden Aesthetics. This is Artemus Dolgin. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. I like to start with this introduction because it's gonna get me into the mode. I'm broadcasting from Los Angeles, California. It's one of the most beautiful days in my life because I'm alive and I can see this beautiful surroundings. And as I was driving, I saw the palm trees and I saw the mountains behind them covered in snow. I was like, fuck, I live in the best place on earth. Actually, because it's the place I always dreamt to be, and I'm enjoying every single day. I'm probably going to do more of these lifestyle videos where I'm talking on different topics, not just fitness. I want to combine these things together because fitness is only a part of my life, and also my life consists of other many parts that, you know, can make this wonderful picture for myself. And I would love to share it with you, and I would, you know, give you my opinions and things, and you know, my approach and my attitude towards business, towards success, towards relationships, towards competing in bodybuilding. And I wanted to make this video about carb cycling. It's such not a typical place to do these videos with the view like that, because I guess it's going to be kind of hard to focus on carb cycling. But regardless, a lot of people asking me about this video and asking me about carb cycling and what it is and how to do it. Carb cycling, it's an approach to your nutrition that actually, in my opinion, allows you to learn more about yourself, because you're introducing certain nutrients today, you're taking them out and you replace them with other nutrients, and you kind of can learn how it works in your body, how your body reacts to it, how your body digests that food, how bloated, how full, how depleted you feel. All those things you have to be able to understand without just, you know, a lot of people just follow that sequence without understanding what's going on with them. But in reality, you have to really understand and comprehend the process, because you will be able to adjust everything according to your system, your body, and it's going to help you, you know, progress faster and you know, not waste time, and also become wiser. So if you decide to make fitness your career, you can help other people and explain them how Carb Cycle works. Most of the time when I approach the shredding time, or you know, the competition, or just I want to shred down for a photo shoot, or just want to be leaner after my bulk season, which I'm going to get into a little later, because after this bulk season, I learn new things that I would like to share with you. You know, if I have people that are overweight, or people that have a bigger number of body fat, to slim down, I usually start with the carb cycle. Maybe sometimes it's not the appropriate way to start them, but it allows me as a tool to learn, you know, about their body and what would be the best approach for them. So carb cycle is basically a very, very simple approach to your diet. You lower your carbs while upping your fats and your proteins, let's say for 3 days, and you allow your body to deplete the glycogen and use fat storage as a energy source, and then you reintroduce the carbs, you fill it back up, and for at least, let's say, 1 or 2 days, there is actually different approaches to it. You can, you know, go 3 days low, you know, on the carbs, on the minimum carbs, or 0 carbs, and then you can load, you know, for 1 day, start slowly, and then load up more on the second day, and then go back to second, where you can go maybe back to a medium carb intake. However, in my approach and the way I do it, I start with pretty much 0 carbs, and I go with 0 carbs for 3 days while upping my fats. And I'm going to tell you the sources that are really good to use as fat source, the nutrition wise. And then for the third day, for the fourth day, I usually go high carbs, and I, you know, lower my fats to minimum, and I keep my protein pretty much steady. So let's break it down. Let's say for 3 days I'm planning on going on minimum carbs. So the nutrition that I'll pick for those days is going to be high in fats and high in proteins and minimal in carbs. So let's say for the meal 1, I would eat, you know, 6 ounces of salmon, and I would eat, you know, 6 egg whites and some asparagus. That would be my breakfast. I really like salmon and whole eggs. Those are pretty much, for me, they're the main sources of fats, healthy fats. I'll also add, you know, walnuts. I also like cashews. almonds, whole almonds, all of it non-salted, non-processed, without adding anything to it. Very, very simple. Is pretty much any diet should be pretty simple but sufficient in nutrition. For the second meal, I would have chicken and some almonds with another sort of vegetables like broccoli or asparagus, spinach. I kind of don't like spinach as much because it doesn't fill me up. Asparagus or broccoli has more fiber in it, so kind of you feel fuller after that. However, once approaching closer and closer to competition, I switch just to asparagus and spinach. For the third meal, I'll have some kind of protein again, like ground beef or ground turkey. Again, with some almonds, or I add like a whole egg or 2 whole eggs, depending on how I feel and what my weight is. Before I train, I usually eat salmon again with some egg whites and some veggies. And after I train, I usually eat a steak. If I'm if I'm closer to a competition, I replace steak with ground beef, but I'll have a nice New York or ribeye steak that's full in fats with some vegetables, a salad if you like. And then before you go to sleep, I'll eat salmon again, or I'll eat some kind of other fish, something like halibut or sea bass, but those are very expensive choices. And most of the time, most of my budget would go into food, and I would spend money on food rather than anything else. So I could space it out somehow and organize my budget around food spending. So I would usually use that fish. I try to avoid tilapia because it's a bottom feeder and feeds off poop, and it's not really a great fish. I would, if you can't afford, switch to cod. Cod is a better option. That would be my typical day for a low carb. As I said, I would, play with the meals around. I switch them around depending on how I feel, because as I said, every single meal gives you an opportunity to feel it, and how it digests, how it sits in your body, again, how bloated you are, how full, how vascular. You have to memorize and know all those things so you can use this when the peak day comes, or just to be able to be getting in shape and understand what nutrition ratio you should be using, But again, it will be changing, as you progress, and you will understand how to adjust all those things accordingly. For 3 days, I'll do that, and then for the 4th day, I will just start a refeed, so to say, with the carbs. So I will lower all my fat, so I'll take all my whole eggs, I will take my salmon out, I will eliminate my steak on that day, I will just eat lean ground beef, and I'll switch to very lean sources of ground turkey, chicken breast, and cod. That's a very lean white fish as well, and egg whites. I will load on egg whites in the morning, like 10 egg whites, 8 egg whites with a cup of oatmeal. Actually start switching to cream of wheat, and I really recommend you to try it out. Cream of wheat is a great source. I feel like oatmeal makes me crave cookies and sugar for some reason, and when I switch to oatmeal, I add some stevia syrup into it, or some stevia powder with a cinnamon to make it tasty. It tastes absolutely amazing with a cup of coffee and 10 egg whites. It's a great breakfast to have. You can just try it out. I actually prefer cream of wheat more than oatmeal. It's not as heavy, and it doesn't really bloat me as oatmeal would. And then for the next meal will be chicken breast with a cup and a half of rice, or a cup of rice. It just depends. And sweet potato is going to go probably closer to the training because they're going to fill me up a little more. And I would eat carbs up to 6-7 meals, and that would be my refeed. This is how I would go into a shredding zone, and for when I get leaner. And you can still grow on this because you're still eating enough protein. I usually consume about 6 to 8 ounces of protein per sitting for 6 meals, some 7 meals. I'm not as spot on right now, even though I look pretty decent right now. I'm not very spot on with the diet because I'm kind of letting my body rest and mentally relax from the hardcore dieting and hardcore cardio and all that. I'm focusing on other things in my life that have more priority at the moment, and they provide me with a very decent living. So I have to focus on that, but it's a time and place for everything. And once I get into the zone again, where I want to just really get shredded and below 6-7% body fat, then I will go back into carb cycling. But you can still grow, you can still progress. Some bodies, they just function better on a lower carb intake and higher fat, higher proteins, and you might be the case, and you will see how much progress, how much more vascular, how lean, how more defined your body is, how much lighter you are, how more efficient you are at the gym, how much better you think, and how much clearer is your thinking with the low carbs and higher fats. So you will have to try it out and find a middle ground. And once you progress, let's say for 6, 8 to 9 weeks with the carb cycle, you will be able to understand how carbs and how fats affecting your body and what sources you should pick in order to keep your bloat down and keep your digestion going, because from digestion means a lot. It means how your body is going to absorb all the nutrients. So to keep healthy tract and healthy digestion is very, very important. So you have to pick the right nutrients, because sometimes we just pack ourselves with food and it keeps bloating us, and you're not thinking clear. You can't really go all in while you're training. So I prefer, timing all this stuff, timing all the meals, and weighing everything, so you know how much you eat, and understand how much you will need to eat more or less, in order to fill up or get more defined or get leaner. So this is kind of a basic approach to a carb cycle. And as I said, I use it as a tool to find what works for me. And for, let's say, for couple preps or couple shreddings, the carb cycle works perfect, but then your body adjusts to it, just like adjusts to everything else. So you have to switch it up to, let's say, medium carb, lower fat and higher protein, or to higher carb, low fat, decent protein, or high protein. You have to play around with those things. When once you get the metabolism going, and this is what carb cycle is really good for. When you get this going, when it's really fast, you can reintroduce the carbs, because your carb capacity, metabolism capacity, is going to be much higher. So you'll be able to absorb carbs and go through them, and your body is going to use them as an energy source a lot better than it would before you did the carb cycle and speeded up your metabolism. Water intake with electrolytes is also very important, because sometimes we don't drink enough water and our metabolism or digestion slows down, and the way you fill up your muscle, because water delivers all these nutrients and glycogen to your muscle. So you have to drink, at least 1.5 gallons, 2 gallons of water, which is a typical standard for everyone. And I found myself that I drink less water right now, because I guess I'm not training as hard as, actually I'm pushing myself all the way at the gym, but I wouldn't say my intensity is there. So I drink less water, and I could definitely feel it or see it by the way you sweat at the gym as well. So this is my approach to this carb cycle. I hope this video will be helpful for you. As I said, it's all about finding what formula works for you. As I said, we have genetics that is different, and digestion different, metabolic rate is different. The way your body absorbs protein and at certain times is different. So we have to find what works for you or for us individually, because bodybuilding is an individual sport, and everything based on your genetics and your stats. So I would start with that. I'm not trying to sell it to you. Maybe I am, but you have to. I have a book that's called Waist Trimming Guide, and I have a very, very profoundly described my carb cycle and how to measure the fats and proteins and carb intake per pound, and how to cycle everything correctly. It's only, I think, $35, I believe, but it also has the vacuum exercising and how to wear a corset, and it's breaking the myth about the corset, and how to wear a belt and what the belt is used for. I mean, I can make a video about this as well, and I definitely will, but this is just a very great piece of information that can be very, very useful for you, very beneficial. There's no secrets in there, but there is very, very detailed information with the nutrients and the foods I suggest to eat, and something that I eat myself, and it worked very, very well for me. Again, I'm just sharing with you my experience, my personal opinion, and I hope it works. I hope it helps you achieve a great form, a great physique, and motivates you for much, much larger things in life. And in the next video, I think I will talk about career in bodybuilding, because I don't know, it just been a lot on my mind lately, because I feel like I'm maturing, I'm growing, and I see new opportunities. I see new horizons for myself, and I feel like bodybuilding is actually taking me over there, and I'm using it as an instrument, as a platform to build something more than just muscle, because the gains, they're not forever, they're temporary. They're there where you're young, where you're healthy, but the day can come and you can injure yourself, God forbid, or something can happen and you'll have no cushion to fall onto, and it can get hit pretty hard, because I see this I see this very, very often, you know, with very well-known bodybuilders and, you know, legendary bodybuilders, and you can see them as trainers and at the gyms, and they're not making as much money as they, you know, deserve because they put in a lot of work. And I feel like it's unfair, but, you know, this is the sport that we chose, and it has its own, you know, specifics, I guess, and details, and you have to be able to understand and know how to jungle them and how to use this prime time, you know, in building something more substantial than, you know, just the muscle or the following base. You have to look way further, because your following base is irrelevant if you get out of shape and you can offer any other value, you know. So this is what I'm working on now, creating a value. I'm pretty good in dressing myself up, and I know a lot of people, you know, they tell me I look this way or that way. I actually enjoy doing what I do, and everything I design here besides booth is mine, and I'm creating this brand. It's called Stronger Than the World, and it's going to be a high fashion brand, not related to fitness as much, but I would like to educate the people that are following me, that are inspired by my lifestyle, you know, about fashion and how I see it. And I think this is how you make it, because you know, we set ourselves for failure first. You know, we let ourselves tell, oh, it's not going to work, or this is not going to look great. But if you like it, if you genuinely enjoy what you see, and you're honest with yourself, you can put it out there with courage. And I guarantee you, a lot of people will relate to that. So this is about the Carb Cycle video. Los Angeles, California. This is Artemus Dolgin. Thank you guys so much for support, for DMs, for emails. I'm sorry I can answer and reply to all of them, but I really send you the warm regards to all of you guys. Talk to you soon.